All right, raise your hand if on your 2024 bingo card you had a Twilight Colourpop collection. I didn't. Did you? It's been officially announced by Colourpop Cosmetics as well as, some of those trend trackers here on the platform that Colourpop and Twilight are doing a collaboration. It was not on my bingo card to see Twilight in 2024 when the film came out, I want to say in 2008. The book was released even before then. But I digress. Anyway, was it on your 2024 bingo card for Colourpop to do a collaboration with Twilight? So today I wanted to do a first impression of the Colourpop Twilight collaboration. I wanted to give you guys all the details about the Colourpop Twilight collaboration, what's included in it, my first impressions, my thoughts, do you need it, do you not need it, and then also the release details, when you can purchase it, and the prices that are going to be available. I would like to thank Trend Mood One, Point Click Vibes, and I will leave the rest of the information in the description box down below for any images that I have used in this video, including Colourpop. But guys, let's get into this collection. Let's do a first impression of this collection. I have been following since it was announced on Colourpop's Instagram. They put just like a dripping red lip, and immediately my mind went to either True Blood, because the lips are reminiscent of True Blood, the very opening of True Blood, or Twilight. And everybody was like, oh, Twilight or True Blood. Me, I'm thinking Twilight. I was definitely thinking that Twilight would be more their jam, more their vibe than True Blood, especially because Twilight was more geared toward a like PG-13 audience, whereas True Blood is like a rated R audience. So I definitely was like, okay, Twilight Colourpop. And then it was also sneak peeked that we would be getting a body oil, and all you could see from Colourpop was "It's like diamonds," and you could not see anything else. They've since actually removed that post on their Colourpop Instagram for some reason, and they've replaced it with like a full reel of the Soul body oil that looks like diamonds, since they've actually announced that Twilight and Colourpop are doing their collaboration. But they did sneak peek the body oil, just saying it's like diamonds, and everybody all over the internet was screaming through their keyboard because this is a Twilight Colourpop collaboration. And can you shout from the rooftops with me? Like, because that's what I did, and my kids thought that I was in trouble or I was hurt or something because I was screaming watching just this reel of the diamond body oil. They announced that Twilight's Colourpop is going to be launching January 11th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which would be 1 p.m. Eastern if you're on the eastern side of the country. My impressions of the collection. So first, Twilight X Colourpop that we saw were the 3 Luxe lip oils. The first one that we see in the new Colourpop reel is the Team Edward one, which like that totally resonated with me because if you're familiar with Twilight, obviously we have Team Edward, Team Jacob, and then we have Bella. Team Edward is a rich deep blue with silver pinpoints that inspired by Edward's navy-like style in the movie. So they're talking about his clothing. He wears a lot of blue clothing. Then you have Belle's, which is a vampy blackened red, reflecting Edward's attraction to her scent. And then we have Team Jacob, which is a sheer black with silver pinpoints representing Jacob's jet black hair, which I'm actually kind of surprised that they would put Jacob as like jet black hair because his wolf is actually red, like a red wolf. So on each of the packaging, it is reminiscent of each character. So for Team Edward, we have the Cullen crest. For Belle's, we have her classic Chevy truck that she drives. And then for Team Jacob, we do have a werewolf. And the packaging is so reminiscent of Twilight. It's absolutely stunning. And then next, from the sneak peeks of the Colourpop collection, we got to see 2 Supershock shadows. And we're getting one called Meadow. It is an opalescent duochrome. It's a lavender with a multi-dimensional pinpoint that represents the flowers from the meadow scenes in Twilight. And then the next one is Vampire Skin, which is an icy white with sparkling multi-dimensional pinpoints that are inspired by Edward's sparkling skin. Also in the collection, obviously we already talked about it, but you're getting the It's Like Diamonds Soul Shimmery Dry Oil. It says this is your moment to have vampire skin inspired by Edward's diamond skin sparkling in the sun. We captured all the different multi-dimensional sparkles from the scene to essentially create Edward in a bottle. So yeah, it's really like diamonds. And I agree, like this is just so stunning. The body oil making you literally look like diamonds is so stunning. That was the product that made me scream because I knew it was Twilight. And then it is also coming with three different ink liners. We get Vampire, which is a metallic vampy red, Coven, which is a rich black with sparkly silver pinpoints, and Forever, which is a metallic forest green with green pinpoints as well. These are stunning. They're very metallic. They look really pigmented. The packaging is awesome. And I think that overall the detail is just so beautiful, very gothic feeling. And it also has the Cullen crest on the packaging as well. So stunning. And then the moment we were all waiting for, they finally announced today, this morning, the eyeshadow palette. It's 15 shades and it is reminiscent of the blue-green hues used throughout the film, as well as browns and greens to represent the forest, all aligning with the mood of the iconic first film. So, featuring shades like Prom Night, which reflects the gazebo lights, Moonlight, which is inspired by Jacob and Bella on the beach, Ice Cold, which is calling back to Bella describing Edward, Lion and Lamb, which is nodding to the meadow scene. There's actually a quote in it, and so the lion fell in love with the lamb. And I think that's such a great detail to add. Colourpop always does great with like their shade names. Like if you think about Hocus Pocus collection, like that was amazing, and they're doing the same thing with Twilight. As far as the packaging goes, I love the outer packaging when it's really reminiscent of the movie where it's white with the forest background and the red writing, and that really reminds me of the book. And then when you open it up, you get the scene of Edward and Bella who are laying in the meadow, and you get the palette. Now the palette. Like I said, it is 15 shades. It is a cool tone palette. It has some greens, it has some blues, and it also has some neutral tones in there. But to me, this looks a little bit muted, and from the Colourpop swatches, it definitely looks muted. All right, so let's talk about the eyeshadow palette. So, upon first impression of the eyeshadow palette, it does look very muted. It has that cool color story with a green, a blue, and some neutrals thrown in there. But overall, this just seems like a super muted color story. It does remind me of like the blue-green filter that we have in the movie, but it's still really muted. And upon first impression, I actually expected this to be a little bit more pigmented, only because you're in the Pacific Northwest. You do have those like pigmented greens and blues, not so pale looking. But when I looked at Trend Mood 1, I did take a look at her swatches, and they look a lot deeper on her than what they do on the model that Colourpop used. And I do have to say that the color story is absolutely stunning. And I do like the way I'm seeing the swatches on Trend Mood 1's profile as opposed to the Colourpop profile. So the swatches on Trend Mood 1 are much, much better than the ones on the Colourpop profile. Hands down. One thing I did note is that there are a lot of like sparkly, they almost look either glittery or super sparkly in the pan. So there may be some like micro glittery type of eyeshadow palette, eyeshadows that are in there. And we will know more once actually like certain reviews start coming out. Like I'll definitely leave in the description box down below once we start seeing some of those reviews coming out as well. According to Trend Mood 1, it is 15 moody blues, forest greens, and sparkling cool tones inspired by the iconic film. There are matte metallic, matte sparkle, and pearlescent glitter finishes in this eyeshadow palette, and you can see that there's just a range of like some really, really light gray tones, some like white sparkly tones, some neutral tones, green and blue tones. Overall, it is a really beautiful palette, but when I first saw it, yes, it reflects the film, but it also reminded me of Aurora Struck from Colourpop. This was released, I don't even remember when, but I will do a comparison picture of the Colourpop Twilight versus the Aurora Struck one. Now, I'm really surprised in the Colourpop Twilight that they didn't put in some duochromes that did like a blue to a green shift, or even a like pearlescent, white, shifty, purpley blue shade. Now I do understand that they have these also in the Supershock formula, so like you can intermix it as well. But I am surprised that they didn't do a play on a type of duochrome where it's like a blue to a green or a green to a blue or something that's really reminiscent of that. I really do not see any kind of duochrome in this eyeshadow palette at all, which is really sad to say. But overall, looking at the swatches, it is really beautiful. It is reminiscent of the film, and it is a stunning palette. Now, let's go over all the prices. These are according to Trend Mood 1. So the Twilight eyeshadow palette is 15 shades. Like I said, it retails for $24. The Luxe lip oils are going to be $11 each. The Super Shock highlighters will be $10 each. The Graphics ink liners are going to be $10 each, and the Soul Shimmery Dry Body Oil will be $10 each. The entire collection will be available on Thursday, January 11th, and you can also purchase it on Ulta Beauty starting on January 14th. Now, typically, what Colourpop loves to do is actually have like their PR package where you can buy the entire collection at a little bit of a discounted price point. So definitely keep a lookout on the Colourpop website. They have not changed the theme on their website as of the day I'm filming this. So we actually don't know what the PR collection is going to be, but we do know the individual prices. So like if one or two things struck your fancy, we do know the individual prices of everything that is going to be in this collection. So, should you buy it? Should we purchase the Twilight Colourpop collaboration? As a twihard, somebody who bought tickets to go see the first movie and the second movie when they were both released, who has been a fan of Twilight for so many years. It was one of my favorite books growing up as a teenager, and I still have those books today. I feel very nostalgic with this collection. It feels very moody, very vampy. Um, like I said, with the palette, I'm a little bit underwhelmed by the palette, but I really think that they nailed it with some of the other choices in this collection. I understand coming from the trends of makeup today that lip oils are a bit more popular. I would have loved to seen a red lip thrown in there or even a red ribbon as like an accessory to this collection. If you know, you know. And I also would have loved to see, like I said, a red lip, a very matte, beautiful red lip to go with this collection. I think that would have just been like the icing on top of the cake. The Soul Body Oil is the one thing that made me so excited for this collection because it is like diamonds, it is like Edward's skin, and then also the highlighters as well, so you can really pinpoint those target areas on your face and highlight with the high points of your face and create that vampiric look that you see in Twilight. It is a really nostalgic collection. It's a fun collection. Will I be purchasing it? Well, I loved the book, so you guys can kind of make an educated guess on that. But thank you guys so much for watching, staying tuned to the end of this video, and I hope I get to see you in my next one. Bye!